I take this opportunity to acknowledge all children, young people, men and women, distinguished guests, visiting friends, church leaders, Torba provincial government councillors, officials and representatives from the national government, church leaders from Vanuatu and beyond, supporters from MMTB and all here present. I welcome you to this historic occasion. I take this opportunity to acknowledge those who have contributed to the development of this diocese, not only its establishment, but also those who have struggled to establish the Diocese of Banks and Torres. Some, both clergy and lay, have left us to be with the Lord. May their souls rest in peace and rise in glory. We gather to witness yet another consecration in this diocese. And as we do that, we bear in mind that this diocese is 27 years old. In our 27 years together, this diocese has experienced its share of experiences. Long look at the good times, long look at the bad times, long look at the successful times, and long look at the challenging times. You may experience some growth, but we have not been immune to setbacks. You may be certain goals and objectives. Some we have achieved, some we are yet to achieve. In the past 27 years, the priority of this diocese has remained 1, evangelism, 2, education, and 3, self-reliance. I have prayed and meditated and made observations, mommy concluding that as I enter office as 4th Diocesan Bishop of the Diocese of Banks and Torres, our priorities remain generally the same. From one end, we make a conclusion also. It is because evangelism is the first and foremost that task to which God calls each and every individual Christian. The one name evangelism. Okay, word evangelism comes from the Greek word euangelion, meaning good news. In the first century, it was called the good news because it was liberating. It sets people free. And why did the good news spread so rapidly in the first century? And it spread so rapidly because in a world where there is much suffering, pain, slavery, poverty, cruelty, injustice, Jesus came and preached God's love, God's sacrificial love. He accept him all outcasts, he accept him all oppressed, and those who were society he sideline him over and he reject him over. That is why it is good news. Paul expressed this love in Ephesians 3:19. Time he tell him say the love of God is beyond human understanding. From one end, because through this love of God, Paul himself was changed from being a murderer to a faithful servant of Jesus Christ. And so the first century, the good news was not only preached by the apostles, but spread largely by ordinary men and women who experienced this setting free, this acceptance, this love. When women were together, they talked about the good news. When men were together, they talked about the good news. Good news is changing life long altogether. That is why they are so interested in talking about the good news. If evangelism is our first priority, then let us share the good news. Let us share the good news in our homes. Let us share the good news in our villages. Let us share the good news in our schools, in our islands. Let us share the good news throughout this diocese. Let us tell others our experience of God's transforming love. We are all in this together. And so let us not depend on the diocesan office, regional office, and so on to make programs to spread the good news. Yes, offices exist only plan more program organize them, coordinate them, more implement them more programs here. But for example, the best people to help our children and young people to know the gospel are our communities, parents, godparents, youth, men, women, long all communities blow you. And so, when we say our first priority is evangelism, any meaning say evangelism is everybody's business. Second priority blow you mean hemi education and mi adam wanarwala tok training. Education and training begins at home. The diocese will support schools, yes, but that does not take away the responsibility of parents who are first teachers in the home. It does not take away the responsibilities of relatives, friends, and members of our societies. Because our societies are different from other societies. Our families include parents, uncles, cousins, grandparents, etc. And so it is the responsibility of this whole family to educate and train our children to love and serve God through helping others. Proverbs chapter 20 verse 6, Hemitalem say, train up a child the way he should go. Even when he is old, he will not depart from it. Parents and families educate our children. Then teachers in our schools play their part. The education office plays their part. The provincial government play part to him too. Diocese of Banks and Torres play part to him. And national government too. He start playing part to him. We all have a part to play in educating and training our children and young people. But the diocese have a special responsibility to support everyone to educate and train our children and young people in the way of the Lord. Our last priority that we focus on him is self-reliance. Like the first two priorities, self-reliance, my brothers and sisters, is everybody's business. Saint Paul stated, long Acts chapter 20, verse 33 to 35, Hemitalem say, I have not coveted anyone's silver or gold or clothing. You yourself know these things, that his hands of mine have supplied my own needs and the needs of my companions in everything I did. I showed you this, that by this kind of hard work, we must help the weak, remembering the words of the Lord Jesus himself, who said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. When Paul now walk now, Paul has been make him self-reliant as him spread the gospel. Acts chapter 18, verse 1 to 4. He tell him say, Paul and man will make him tapulen, tent maker. He tried to be as self-reliant as possible. Therefore, self-reliance must begin in all homes. Not only in some homes, in all homes. Self-reliance must be in our institutions. It must be in our districts. It must be in our parishes. It must be in our regions. It must be in our diocese. Let us make the Diocese of Banks and Torres not only a receiving church, but a giving church. We can achieve this goal and address our priorities if we are united, brothers and sisters. And as I say this, I am reminded by one of the shortest Psalms in the Bible, Psalms 133, where he tell him say, how good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. We cannot unite with other people if we cannot respect and love them. If we respect and love other people, then by you must have a live in unity with them all together. And so in order for us to live and work in unity in our societies, communities, villages, islands, and families, love and respect must be taught in all homes, schools, nagamals, nasara, churches, so that you must have able, you must have unite as one, achieving all the priorities and goals play unique. I pray that the Diocese of Banks and Torres will unite so that we can achieve our aims, our goals, and our aspirations for the glory of God, and the Lord be with you. Amen.